welcome back to Melanin Mondays. This is our 8th episode, which is really, really awesome. I've been having a great time with this, and I hope you guys have as well. Just letting you guys know, if you are a Black entrepreneur, person of color with a business, please hit me up if you'd like to be a part of Melanin Monday. If you would like me to interview you, just like send me your info, send me whatever business you have, kind of tell me a little bit about you, and like we'll go from there. I'd love to have you. It's been really fun, and so like I'd really like to continue this. So please, also, if you are someone who has a friend that owns a business or is a creative of color, please let me know. Like, send them my way. I'd love to hit them up and all that good stuff. But today, for our 8th episode, we have Emmanuel. He is a videographer, a photographer, all that good stuff. He is a creative. His handle is at Manny the Grapher, which I love that handle. Shout out to my bestie Jalea for hitting me up and sending him my way. Very excited to talk with him today. Looks like he's joined, and as soon as he just requests, we can get this interview started. Hope everyone's been doing well and all that good stuff. And today with Emmanuel, we'll be talking about photography, videography, representation in the media, representation in magazines, and television and entertainment. So, Larry Love, thank you so much. I had a great time this past Saturday. Larry is talking about a show that I had this past Saturday in Maplewood. It was a great show. Thank you to everyone who turned out. Oh, hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
How's your day going?
It's going well. Got a lot of work done, so very productive day, which is awesome. How about you?
Good. I'm good.
Awesome. Also, I wanted to ask you, because your handle is different. Is it Emmanuel, or do you go by Manny?
Yeah, my actual name is Emmanuel, but everybody just calls me Manny for short.
Okay, awesome, Manny. That's my little brother's nickname. We used to call him that when he was younger, so that's really funny.
Cool.
Love that. So let's get into this. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So why don't you give us a little background about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. Manuel, I live in Newark, New Jersey. I've been in Newark for about 3.5 years. I went to high school in Newark in the South Ward at Weequahic High School. I'm in college right now. I'm a sophomore at New Jersey Institute of Technology.
Awesome.
So that's like my education right now.
Awesome. That's dope. My dad actually graduated from Weequahic, so that's funny.
Oh, that's cool.
Small world. Just a lot of... We're fam is what I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at NJIT, what are you studying there?
Right now, my major is supposedly digital design.
Okay.
I switched my major like 3 times already. I first got in for theater and technology. That was like my original major to get into the school. But like after a while, and speaking to like staff and stuff, I heard that theater and technology is not a major you go into solely as your like focus. You do it as a double major or a minor. And then I switched to mechanical engineering, just went left field. And mechanical engineering was cool, but it wasn't stimulating my mind in like the way I liked. So I switched from mechanical to computer engineering. And then I switched again for the same exact reason to digital design right now.
All right, digital design. So as a videographer and photographer, how is digital design kind of influencing your work? Or like what are kind of some things you're learning in the digital background that you're using towards your photography?
Yeah, so digital design is related to graphic design, visual effects. advertising, media production, and stuff like that.
Mm.
And that is like the field I want to specialize in, like my photography and my videography. So I'm learning a lot about design and graphic design and color and history of like art and design and stuff, and how it like relates to my work, or how it relates to just creating meaningful work. So just learning like the theoretical part, because most of what I know is practical, just hands on, because that's how I've learned like photography and videography, just by doing it. I don't know like the technicalities or the wording, the
Mm.
terminology or whatever. And
Mhm.
just being in school, I'm learning like the actual theories that go into the creation of like work of art and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. So, what's your like experience? Let's talk a little bit about your experience behind the camera. So, like, do you um remember kind of your first video, or like when you first started getting into photography?
Uh, it started with photography in high school. Uh, at Weekly High School, I was a school photographer for like my last 2.5 years. Um, it was this lady, Miss Anna dos Santos. She was like the coolest person ever,
Mhm.
and she used to take photos for the school for like their events and whatnot. And there was this event she had to be in, and I was just there like off by some chance.
Mm.
And she had to be in the event, and she couldn't take photos. And she was like, "Would you like to do it?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" It felt like a interesting thing to do. And I
Mhm.
just grabbed the camera, and she showed me like a few little ways to use it. And I just got hooked from that one experience. And from there, I had to get my own stuff. I had to just figure out how it worked, and
Yeah.
kept going. I joined this internship, Secret Society Motion Pictures. It's a production company in Newark that specializes in like the creation of music videos, advertising work, and stuff like that. And I learned a lot about film and video from them. But like my original starting point was photography.
Oh, okay. All right, that's awesome. Um, so when did you start getting into videography?
Videography was about it's fairly recent, if I really think about it. About a year ago.
Okay.
Uh, my first set of videos were not even like actual videos that I can pinpoint. It was just me recording some random footage,
Hmm.
just putting it together and just creating something out of it.
Awesome.
They didn't have like actual meaning or direction at the
Mm.
time. And then slowly, just being around like people that do a lot of video work, I started getting into it and just shooting stuff.
Mm.
I honestly can't even pinpoint like what my first set of videos was.
Yeah.
Where honestly,
Can you remember your first ever camera? I remember asking Julian, he's a videographer that I worked with a few weeks ago. I was asking him like his kind of first
yeah,
equipment. Do you remember your first camera?
yeah, it was a Canon XT,
Okay.
a Canon XT. Um, I got a loan from my brother. I remember my first year as a photographer. I got a loan from my brother. It was $100 off. Like it was off this app called Akari.
Hmm.
They sell like random people selling used
Oh,
stuff,
Akari. Yeah. Actually, I use that. I use that app.
and I just saw it on there for $100, and it looked like it was in good condition. I just bought it,
That's awesome.
and it was like the looking back, I'm glad I bought that camera, because although it wasn't like an amazing camera,
Hmm.
it just forced me to really learn how to shoot photos.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the automatic mode was trash. Like
Mm.
putting on auto mode was literal trash. You
Mm.
had to like learn how to set it right to get like the results you wanted.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. Well, at least you got it on a like a good price, a bargain. That's always.
I mean, it's that's what it's worth, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the
Okay.
camera it was made in 2002,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's
I
like
see.
valued seriously. since then.
Okay, I get you. Cool. So, have you ever entered any videography or photography competitions?
Huh. Yeah, yeah. I entered a recent one
Oh,
with this podcast
mm,
that I listen to a lot, Black with No Cream. They're like
mm.
it was started by Ben Haggerty. So Ben Haggerty was he was the videographer and photographer for Beyonce and Jay-Z
Oh, sweet.
before the pandemic. And he's done a lot of work for like a lot of other people, like I forget his name. But he's done like a lot of other important work with Chloe and Halle. Did
Oh,
that
okay,
recently.
okay.
And he's super cool. And he started this podcast with his friend Dave Malave,
Okay.
and they just they do like interviews with other successful some content creators, other successful photographers and videographers to
Mm-hmm.
teach like people like me that are up and coming how like photography and videography work, how the industry works.
Mm,
And they held this editing competition. So they partnered with an advertising specialist, Mike Parentu,
okay.
and they put like a ton of raw videos online, and they said you could download it, do whatever you want with it, and chop up a 1 minute ad out of it and post it on Instagram and turn it in. I think mine is still up somewhere, but it was like a cool challenge, and I remember doing that. It was actually during the pandemic,
Oh, okay.
and then when they announced the winners, they did like a live stream doing like reviews of everybody's work, everybody that turned in the 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 finished product. They went through it and gave like critiques.
Okay. That's awesome. That sounds like a good. So, would you recommend, like, as someone, getting into videography, photography, would you recommend, like, entering competitions and things like that to kind of like push you and see your limits and like push you towards, like getting better at your craft?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm not a big fan of like competitions because I feel like competitions put in some ways like a good amount of pressure
Mm,
on like people entering it, and
mm-hmm,
sometimes it gets cutthroat, and that just takes me off about it. But in some cases, it's good to get into it, but not to get into it for like, oh, I'm getting into it because I want to win,
mm,
but just to get into it to just mess around with somebody's style of work, somebody's style of shooting, to experience somebody's perspective of how they work, and just to learn. I got into the competition because I thought it would be fun just to mess around with somebody else's footage. I wasn't getting in with like the mind to, oh, I want to win this, I want to win whatever it was.
mm-hmm. Okay, I get you.
Because I think as a photographer, you still have to, as a content creator or creator of any kind, you still have to like develop your own style.
Yeah.
And these competitions help you see other people's style and learn from their style, not just like copycat or fight for some prize.
Okay, I get you. All right, that's good. That's cool. Um, so I was gonna say, like, you were talking about how you had kind of jumped a bit from major to major and kind of like focusing in college and stuff like that. Would you say that videography and photography is like your dream career? It's like what you like if you could get paid for it and make a great living, which you can. Like, would you just do that?
Photography and videography?
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, it's probably my main source of like income or like as a living to sustain myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I think it's possible. I don't think I know it's possible. I know successful videographers that make a living of making music videos or other types of videos, and eventually that is like the end goal to have like my own production company where I make videos for people. I take photos for people and get paid for it. So I definitely think it is possible, and I think that is where I hope to be at a point in my life.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. So owning your own production company.
Yeah.
Like, would you be making like the projects that you would go into? I'm assuming like music videos, like maybe some film. What's the general vibe like overall in kind of photography or?
So when I first started, I was doing everything photography wise anyway. I was shooting landscape, portraits, still life, whatever. I was just trying everything to figure out what worked for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I eventually got deep into portrait photography. And then when I started videos, it was random at first as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got with my internship, I got exposed to like a whole lot of music videos,
Mm.
and the music video business is interesting. It's interesting in its own way, and it's not like the main thing that interests me.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, I would love to get into the music video industry, but it's not like the one thing I want to focus on. So
Okay.
recently, over the pandemic, everybody was stuck in the house, and I was stuck in the house, and I was sorry about that. I'm using my computer for light.
No.
So I was stuck in the house, and a lot of jobs got canceled. I had like a ton of jobs for the summer, and all of them got canceled, and it was like, what's going on? What are we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
So I started dabbling into like other types of work,
Mm-hmm.
specifically advertising work. So I started these little ad videos
Mm.
that I posted on my page, and they did like tremendously well. A lot of people loved it, and I loved it. It was in some ways it was more fun for me than working with people because when you're working with a product,
Mm.
in a way it's easier, but it's not necessarily. I just drew way more satisfaction from working with like advertising work
Okay.
than my other stuff. So I'm leaning a lot more into advertising work at the moment.
Okay. I see you. Okay, that makes sense. Um, so in terms of, I know you're saying like advertising, especially like as a production company and everything like that in the future. But you
Yeah,
were saying like your kind of passion started kind of becoming portraits and stuff like that with the pictures.
yeah. Portrait
Um,
photography is huge. It's like my
yeah,
thing.
I was about to say, yeah, it's definitely like a huge, like kind of market. I was gonna ask you because I remember in 2018, Tyler Mitchell, he was the first African American photographer to ever shoot the front page of Vogue, and he shot
Yeah.
Beyonce. Yeah, I was wondering, like, what were your thoughts on that? Like, how did you feel as like as a photographer, as like a black man? Like, what were your thoughts on that kind of in terms of like the future where we're going with representation in general.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't know about Tyler Mitchell until this year.
Oh, okay.
So this year I found his page on Twitter, and then I found him on Instagram. I just thought it was amazing because I didn't even realize he was the first. Because that when I first heard about it, it just sounded ridiculous. The first black man to ever shoot like the front page of Vogue.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
And I think the media industry is gradually taking the world by storm
Mhm.
more than it ever has.
Mhm.
And it would be wrong for us to sleep on it, to sleep on how creators of color are leading like this storm that's taken over. I know a lot of black creatives that are creating magic with their work, like Kyle Jr., Love for Rico,
Mhm.
and the likes, and they just it's just amazing to see what people of color can create,
Yeah.
and it just blew my mind because honestly, till like recently, I wasn't even like super aware of the race issues in the world because I'm originally from Nigeria,
Okay.
and in Nigeria, our issues aren't specifically race.
Mhm.
We have like not serious issues, but like other issues
Mhm.
that are not race. And then moving to the United States, I became way more aware of like the racial issues that people of color face.
Mhm.
And I just think it's amazing to be a black person in America today. It may be scary due to like the injustices we see,
Mhm.
but being a black creator is a powerful position to be today, and I think that should not be slept on.
Yeah. That was well said. I agree with you on that. Um, Yeah, I definitely think, like, considering Vogue's history as well, like Vogue is 125 years old, which is crazy to
Right.
see. So like, and I can understand how, like, coming from like Nigeria and coming to like a very racially based country like America, just kind of that shift. And I wonder if like you see the shift also in media, like in artwork and things like that. And like I guess the future for you, like how do you feel about like how you're gonna contribute to this art, like to this music and everything like that? Like I know you're saying like the advertisement production, like future, but right now with the portrait and everything, how do you think that your background, like coming from Nigeria and just like being in Newark and like seeing kind of the difference between Black people here and Black people in Nigeria, like how does that come out in your art? Would you say?
Okay, so the way I was raised in Nigeria, it was when when somebody's standing in your way or somebody's trying to discriminate against you or prevent you from getting an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
or like becoming something, somebody's just like literally standing in your way. You don't like play the victim or complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
You find another way. That's literally like the mindset I grew up with in Nigeria. And agreed, coming here, that has been happening for years. The racism has been standing in the way of the colored community, the black community for years.
Mm-hmm.
And agreed, I can say, oh, we can just find another way. But if we keep turning it around and there's racism right there,
Mm-hmm.
what are we gonna do? I think it's time we. I'm glad we're finally standing up. I mean, we've been standing up for years, but I think there's a lot more awareness now compared to previously.
Yeah.
And I don't. I still stick with the mentality I grew up with, finding another way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think the black community relies a lot on the validation of, say, the white community or the
Mm-hmm.
people in charge. Agreed, they've been like oppressing us for years, but I think there is some validation we've been seeking from them deep
Mm-hmm.
down, and now that we're finally standing up and fighting against it,
Mm-hmm.
we're finally seeing that we don't need their validation to
Mm-hmm.
be amazing. We're amazing on our own,
Mm-hmm.
and my work, as much as it's when I create my work, I don't even think about it racially. I wasn't thinking about it racially or like with the social influence or racial influence until recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to be conscious of what we create. Like I'm trying to be conscious of what I create now, so it's more empowering
Mm-hmm.
and it's more uplifting and not like not just okay, this is a photo, it's cool, yeah, but more this is
Meaningful.
a cool photo, but what does this photo tell you?
Yeah.
How does this photo speak to you? How does this photo empower you to be a better person, to be a better black person,
Mm-hmm.
to rise above like the challenges you face in your community?
Mm-hmm.
That I think that is how I will make my impact as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in a way legacy is cool, but legacy is overrated. And people be like, oh, I want to live a legacy that the world knows who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I think legacy is not it's not always supposed to be the world. It's more what did you do for your brother right next to you?
Mm-hmm.
Or what did you do for your family around you? What did you do for your friends? How are they going to remember you? That's more legacy than okay, how is the world going to remember you or whatever?
Yeah.
I think just like helping each other out is how we can leave legacy and how we can make ourselves better.
I love that. That was really well said. That was very profound. I feel that, especially just like the reliance of pride from our own community as opposed to validation from this historically oppressive community that we have been under for a long time. So like I love that. I love as an artist, as a creative of color, uplifting other creatives of color and showing them that together we have a different empire that is gonna build its own strength from within. So like I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yeah, I was gonna ask you, okay, because we have like 5 more minutes. So I was gonna ask you, so for people who need some videos, some pictures taken, how can they reach out to you? What's your kind of like pricing like? What's the vibes overall?
Okay, so best ways to contact me. Instagram. I'm almost always on Instagram. I get notifications instantly. So Instagram is the best way to reach me for work. Pricing is relative to the project and to the person.
Okay.
Honestly, depending on the scale or type of work you need from me, then we can like talk about pricing. I can't just like throw a price out there at you.
I feel that.
But I'm open to to like whatever kind of work,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it makes sense, it has impact. It's not some random project. As long as it has meaning
Okay.
and it's important to you, it's important to me because I like to put my heart into everything I'm doing and make it not just about the money. Because in the end, you can get rich and then be miserable. I've thought about it, and I want to live a life that I can be proud of. I want to live a life that I can do not exactly what I want to do when I want to do it, but in a way, I want to be my own boss and just like live a life that I can be proud of, honestly, and not like seek other opinions and just follow like my passions and over this journey of just being a photographer, one of the most important things I've learned is trust your vision,
Mm-hmm.
trust your own vision. Your mind is always going to tell you, depending on how you're raised or whatever, like the circumstances that you live in,
Mm-hmm.
those influence you as a person, and your mind is always going to tell you how to do something. And it takes time to train it, but your mind will always tell you a vision, a way to follow. And if you're actually listening,
Mm-hmm.
you see it, you follow it, and just like not being super influenced by everything around you,
Mm-hmm.
but just paying attention to what's in your head is super important. And I think that's one of the most underrated things. People are always trying to go out and do this, do that. Went out again, but people are always trying to go out and do this and do that. And I think it's important to take some time for self reflection and just get in your head and figure out what's going on before you go out. But yeah.
Okay. I love that. All right. Well, seriously, thank you so much, Manny, for joining us today. A lot of good information, a lot of good themes overall, just about the world around us, art, Black creativity, and the world, basically, and internal creativity as well. So I really,
Thanks for
really,
having me. I'm super honored, honestly.
of course, of course. And yeah, have a great night, okay?
Thank you. You too. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was Manny. You can follow Manny at manny.the.grapher, I believe. But really great stuff for real. I enjoyed episode 8 with y'all. Have a good night and hit me up whenever. I'm here. Bye. Oh, see you next week.